Most of us are somewhat familiar with the thunderbird. It seems nearly all Native American tribes have had stories about that great winged protector of the Anishinaabe people. But there is another legend of a powerful, great bird known as the Piasa. And this huge raptor was not a protector, but was rather a creature with a taste for human flesh. The information presented here I happened upon while perusing an 1887 book titled Records of the Ancient Races in the Mississippi Valley, written by William MacDonald. He began the book with a thought-provoking statement that I'd like to share with you. And he said, "It is quite probable that the ancient mound builders and early inhabitants of this country did make attempts to record some of the more important events of their day. Figures either carved or painted on the rocks, and in some cave shelters or beneath some overhanging cliffs, are not uncommon along the banks of the rivers among the Mississippi Valley. But more do they abound along the great river itself, the Mississippi River, where its banks form the boundary between the states of Illinois and Missouri." He continues to write, "The best known of these old pictographs is that of the Piasa, a remarkable painting that once adorned the smooth rocky face of the bluff where is now the city of Alton, Illinois. And the curious old pictograph was first brought to the general notice of the public by Mr. John Russell. Now he wrote the legend of the Piasa, which he claimed to have obtained from the Native American Indians. And the story that he was told is the stuff of nightmares. The tale he was told is this: many thousands of moons ago, before the arrival of the palefaces, that'd be me and you probably, when the great mastodon were still living in the land of green prairies, there existed a bird of such dimensions that it could easily carry off a full-grown deer in its talons. Now, having at one point obtained the taste for human flesh, from that time he would prey on nothing else but the poor Native American Indians. He was artful, and he was powerful, and he was cunning, and would dart suddenly and unexpectedly upon an Indian, bear him off into one of the caves or of the bluffs, where he would tear him apart and devour him. As legend was told, for years hundreds of warriors attempted to destroy the cunning Piasa, but they had no success. And it was also told that the whole villages were all but stripped of its inhabitants. Anger spread through all of the tribes, and fear. This is how circumstances stood when the great Indian chief, Oua-to-go, the chief's deeds were known far, far beyond, even up here into the Great Lakes region where I live. He set himself aside from his people, and he fasted for the space of a full moon. He prayed that the Great Spirit, the Master of Life, Gitchi-Manitou, would protect his children from the razor-sharp beak and talons of the Piasa. Well, let's return to the written record of Mr. MacDonald. It continues, "On the last night of the fast, the Great Spirit appeared to the chief in a dream and directed him to select 20 of his bravest warriors. Each warrior armed with a bow and poisoned arrows. And he was to conceal them in a designated spot that the Great Spirit gave to him. And near the place of concealment, another warrior was to stand in open view as a victim for the Piasa, which they must shoot when he pounced upon his prey." McAdams continued, "When the chief awoke in the morning, he thanked the Great Spirit, and returning to his people, or his tribe, told them of his vision, and the warriors were quickly selected and placed in ambush as directed. Now the chief offered himself as the victim. He cared for his people that much. He was willing to die for his people, and placing himself in the open, on the bluffs, he soon saw the Piasa perched on the cliff, eyeing his prey, the chief. The chief drew up his manly form to his utmost height, and planting his feet firmly upon the earth, he began to chant the death song of an Indian warrior The moment after, the Piasa rose into the air, and swift as a thunderbolt, or lightning bolt, darted down upon his victim, the chief. Scarcely had the horrid creature reached its prey before every bow was strung and every arrow was sent quivering straight to the feather in the Piasa's body. The Piasa uttered a fearful scream that sounded far over the opposite side of the river, and it expired. The chief was unharmed. Not an arrow, not even the talons of the bird, had touched him. The master of life, in admiration of the chief's deed, had held over him an invisible shield. End quote. At the time this was written, the image of the Piasa was still cut into the solid rock, and from my understanding, the original image was badly damaged over the years and can no longer be seen. Was there really such a creature as the Piasa? Is there any proof? Well, it turns out possible. Strong evidence did indeed exist and may still. And in part 2 of this video, which will be up in a week or so, I'll tell you about the Cave of Human Bones. Well, I hope you found that interesting, and I hope you'll join me for part 2. I love you all much on the other side of that monitor and that TV screen. God bless each and every one of you. You are very special to me. Very special. And I'll see you again real soon with a new video requested by one of our subscribers and friends, Paris's Attic, about the buttons that Bill and I found out at the dig site that we've been going to. There were over 400 buttons found, and I'm going to show you some of the best ones. God bless you all. Love you much. See you soon.